Welcome back to American Morning on this Monday, October 24th. BPA is a chemical that can be found in everything from water bottles to cans of peas, and it could be causing behavioral problems in kids. A study in the journal Pediatrics found that toddlers who were exposed to higher BPA levels before they were born had worse behavior at age 3 than the kids that didn't.
Our senior medical correspondent Elizabeth Cohen is here now. Where does one get exposed? How does a toddler, somebody who's not even born, get exposed to BPA?
You know what, Allie, if you tested any of us, we would most likely have BPA in our system. So what happens is pregnant women get BPA, and I'll show you in a minute the products, and then that goes to their unborn child. Those fetuses are so small that the concentrations can be quite large and can affect that child later on. So let's take a look at what BPA is in. BPA is a chemical that's in a lot of plastics. So for example, it's in like a food plastic like this, or a plastic like this. Now, it's also in the lining of many tin cans. So you can't see it, but inside this tin can is a plastic lining, and often those linings have BPA in them. BPA is also sometimes found in water bottles like these. It is very, very hard to avoid, and some people get more of it than others.
So, Elizabeth, you know, I would say that eating fresh fruits and vegetables is probably one solution, but what else can mothers do to try to avoid this?
Okay, let's talk first about why they should avoid it. What this study found is that the moms who had the most BPA in their system were much more likely to give birth to girls who by age 3 had behavior problems. Again, it was just girls, probably because BPA affects the hormones, and maybe that's why it affects girls more. But again, the moms who got the most BPA when they were pregnant, those little girls, by the time they were 3, were much more likely to have things like autism, ADHD, anxiety, and depression. So let's go over a couple of things that you can do in order to try to avoid BPA, because as I said, it's actually pretty hard to do. The first thing you want to do is flip over that plastic, and what you're going to find, you should find, is a number. So you want to avoid a 3 or a 7 on plastics. Also, if you can, avoid canned food. I know that's really hard to do, but if you want to, you know, really be an empowered patient and do what you can, you're going to avoid canned food when you're pregnant. Also, dispose of BPA plastic that has scratches. So, for example, if you've been drinking out of a bottle of water, try not to reuse that bottle of water if you think that there are scratches on the inside. The scratches make it easier for the BPA to leach out and get into your system. And also, don't microwave plastics that have BPA in them, because that also makes it easier for the BPA to leach out. Now, I don't want anyone to think that, you know, one swig out of a bottle of water, if that bottle has BPA in it, is going to condemn your child to having some terrible problem. It's a cumulative thing. It's sort of the little things you do every day.
And does this matter for adults?
You know, there are some studies that do show that it matters for adults, Allie, but it's much more of a concern for children, and it's even more of a concern for fetuses, because basically we're just talking about size. The smaller you are, the more it's going to affect you.
All right, Elizabeth, thanks very much for that.
Thanks.